Hi, I'm Henry House with Proclaims Live. I have the honor to have Connie Brothers sitting beside me. First, I want to give an excuse. If you hear dogs barking in the background, my apologies, but they're barking at any leaf that blows around. And Connie just came from a asthma treatment, so if she's getting a little bit coughed up or choked up on this, it's not because of anything we're saying. I didn't know she was allergic to cats, so we chased the cat into the other room. But we did provide her with a fine quality cup of H2O, so we should be good to go along.
Thank you.
So Connie, tell me why you're running for office.
First, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to come to share briefly a little bit about me and why I'm running for office. It's nothing that I just decided within the 6 months or to a year, but it's something been in the making for 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
Presently, if anyone have watched any of our Zoom meetings, they have seen how disruptive, disrespectful our local government has been going. So
Okay.
I feel that I can bring different qualities that we can return our local government back to civility, that we can open up the communication skills better to our residents here in
Okay.
Hertford, because presently right now they do not feel comfortable attending in person or on Zoom a meeting.
Okay, understood.
And that's one of the reasons that I feel like that I would like to run, or I think I am capable of bringing civility back to our local government. Because, like I say, our meetings have really been out of control.
All right. Well, tell me something about your background and experiences that would prepare you to be a town council member.
Okay, I don't have too much background in government, but I did serve on the Student Government Association when I was in high school.
Okay.
I am a graduate here for Clemens County School System. I also attended North Carolina Central University in Durham, where I served as a Student Government Association there. Dr. William J. Barber was our president at that time. So I had the pleasure of serving that as well. I'm a criminal justice major from North Carolina Central.
Okay.
I have been involved in the community ever since I've been back home, and I've been back home about 30 years now. So that's a little bit of my background.
If you were elected,
Excuse me.
how would you measure your success as a town council member?
My success will be based on what the residents
Okay.
have to say, their input, because it's their vote, it's their voice. So I will measure myself based on what the residents, the citizens have to say, because like I say, it's their vote, it's their voice. This election is not about Connie Teresa Brothers, but it's about the residents of Hertford, North Carolina.
All right. So
Excuse me.
let's look forward, but let's learn from our past. Okay. All of us have something in our past that
Yes.
we have hopefully learned from.
Yes.
How does your past experiences, the challenges that you've had in your past, how do they better prepare you to be a town council member today?
To never do what I've done before.
To never do what you've done before. Well, I mean,
it's a learning- it's a
you're brave
learning-
enough to put your name on the ballot, which,
Yes.
I would say other town residents, if you're not happy with the government you have, put your name on the ballot and fix it yourself. So,
And what have happened in the past? Have I done everything right, correct? No, no one has. But we have a God who's willing to forgive us for our mistakes, for what we have done in the past. I have learned from just our present government today, yesterday, yesterdays, and watching other local government or county government on TV.
okay.
So you hear what they have to say, and you can it's a lesson in everything that we do, everything that we see, and everything that we hear. So I feel that I am capable of learning from past and capable of moving forward.
Okay. Now, you touched a little bit on your feelings about the way the town council is functioning.
Excuse me.
So, how do you sell it with the potential of having one new member or two new members? If you are elected, how do you see yourself fitting in with the present town council members who aren't up for re-election, and how would you distinguish yourself from them?
Well, I can say communication is the key to everything. I feel right now that I have a good, effective communication skills with some of the present council. We can disagree to agree. Will we agree on everything? No, we will not agree on everything. But I've learned that you can always come to the table, sit down, discuss the issues, and just move forward with that. Say, for instance, I may have an ideal that you may not like, but we should be able to discuss our ideals and reason together and meet in the meeting.
Well, that's one thing this country has lost over the last
Yes.
30 plus years.
Yes, we have. Totally.
Moving forward,
Excuse me.
I know you're under a time crunch. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Okay, the waterfront. Give me your elevator pitch on pros, cons of the waterfront.
First of all, it's the Hertford community and waterfront.
Okay,
That's the mistake that is out in the community today. It's always saying that it's the waterfront property, project.
right.
But people forget the first part. And this is something that needs to get out to the community that is for everyone. It's just not for, as they say, Front Street, or it's not just for Church Street. It's for the community at large. I think it is a beautiful project that's come here. I think it can work perfectly here. We need funding for it. If everyone can just hear the truth and know the truth about, the Hertford community
Right.
and
Well,
waterfront plan,
we
can move it forward.
to dovetail on what you said, I think people who live around me here on Church Street, they're excited about it, but
Yeah.
I think they're going to be a little surprised at how it may change the dynamics of our
Right.
quiet neighborhood.
Right.
For those that live off Grub Street and to the west, I think they might actually be surprised at how it may benefit their neighborhood, because it is a community development program
It
just
is.
beyond doing the waterfront.
It is.
So I think there's a lot of not thorough communication,
Exactly.
okay, for that. None of us, save those ones who are actively involved in the committee, really have a idea of where it's headed. I think it is a bonus for the entire community. But
And one other thing I would like to add to that, if we can just get the right communication out to the community about this project, I believe they would have a totally different view.
maybe we need to pull a couple people on that to have us sit in the hot seat with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Why not?
All right, water sewer.
Excuse me.
Utilities in general are high in our community compared to an average, but the water and sewer has another complex issue because the infrastructure is starting to fail, and it doesn't just impact people on the east side of town or the west side of town. It's impacting the entire town. It's impacting our roads above it.
Yes.
How do you see the solution? Do you have insight on where you would go?
Right now, I do not have total insight of the water and sewer. It is a major problem. Infrastructure is a major problem here. If you can just ride down each street and you can see for yourself just how bad it is. But once again, you have to have funding, and once again, you have to have the right people in the right place to do what needs to be done here in the town of Hertford. I believe once we have the right local government that can return back civility, that we can begin to look at these different areas that needs proper attention. Why jump out into a project when you can't even sit among yourself to reason together? So my purpose of running is, number one, is to, like I said, to return our local government back to civility and to be that communication piece for the citizens and for our local government. Hertford right now is the laughing stock of northeastern North Carolina. We're in Paquemiss County, and I feel that our local government, the city, should be able to come together with the county, sit down at the table, reason together, because right now that communication piece is split.
And can you shed any insight onto why we don't talk amongst one another
One reason I made
without putting your foot into it?
I feel like no one really wants to sit down and talk with our present local government because of how our
perception is.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And once that perception is changed, I believe Hertford will become back, that strong, beautiful Hertford where we can sit
That you
down.
remember?
Yes, because
Okay.
this is my home. I grew up here, graduated here. I've been back home now 30 years.
Okay.
Yes.
Uh,
Excuse me.
Police force. Okay, we just did a major change
Yes,
on the police
that's
force.
right.
Assessment. Are you happy with the change that we've made?
I'm very happy.
Okay. Do you feel we have a better police presence today than we had 4 months ago?
I believe so. Yes,
Uh,
so.
or do the people that you talk to in the community, do they share the same opinion?
Some do, some don't. You would never get 100% on anything. And I believe our sheriff department is doing an excellent job. I used to deliver newspapers here in Hertford.
Okay.
I wrote streets for 8 years. And out of those 8 years, I've always seen the sheriff department visible. Whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, or 8 o'clock in the morning. They have always been visible. They have always been accessible to us. Because I have called them numerous of times early in the morning
Right.
because different things that I have seen. So, and they're doing a beautiful job, a wonderful job now, and I give them a shout out for the job that they're doing. Excellent job. Like I say, you will see Sheriff White and his people out.
Okay. Going forward, is there an area of focus or multiple areas of focus you would like the sheriff to exercise in dealing with crime and situations within Hertford?
Not right now, because
Okay.
what I've like I said, what I've noticed about them, if there's a call placed to them, they're there. Um, People think that they may be on one side of the county that they can't get to the other side of the county, but they are well covered with the area
Right.
in Paquimiss County. So, like I said,
Well,
in
your
Hertford,
your previous one of your, well, lack of a better term, adversaries for a city council seat, he verified to me that the previous, when we had the police chief and the police department in town, we had 3 cruisers on the road each shift. And he also confirmed that the Sheriff White has 3 police cruisers on the road for each shift. So it's interesting, how you want to slice it, but it says the same thing. Moving on, because as I said, I know you have,
excuse me.
you need to get out from the cats in here. We have an issue with finding a new town manager.
Yes.
Okay. What skill set are you looking for in a town manager? I've had some people, both on the show and then out in public say, listen, we need someone with, we want to get someone young that we can mold them into the person we want them to be. But I think with the dynamics of our town council, that, personally speaking, that we may be looking at someone who has a degree of maturity and has wisdom.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily have to be just in local government, but has wisdom in dealing with the various conflicts and challenges that are faced with a business or a small community.
Exactly.
So, in saying that, what would you look for? Would you look for someone who is, kind of says yes sir to or yes ma'am to everybody, or are you looking for someone who is going to say, Ms. Brothers, all due respect.
All due respect.
Okay, I value your input, but
Yeah.
I think you're wrong.
Yes, that's the one that we need.
Okay.
We do not need to rush into hiring one.
Okay.
We need to be sure and very sure that we have a well-qualified person, like you said, who would not say, okay, Ms. Brothers, everything you say, I agree with you, we can go that way. Ms. Brothers, I don't quite believe that that's something that we should do at this time. So in everything that we do, we should take our time, do our research, our homework, before
Okay.
we completely.
How would you attract a candidate like that? I mean, if we look at the history of Hertford over the last decade, it's been interesting. And I'm not saying it is any one individual
Right.
or any one faction or any one part of town. I think it is a complex issue that is beyond the time that we have here.
Okay.
But how would you lure somebody, just even for the interim manager, someone who, I'm sure you watched the video about discussing about trying to get someone as an interim to relieve Ms. Hertord. how would you say, listen, we really, we are a diamond. We just need to get polished a little bit.
Right.
How do you sell Hertford to them?
One of the key things that I have heard from people who may be interested in applying for the position is money. That's one thing that they've said. Um, we want to make sure that we're compensated well because um, if we hire, if I'm hired
Right?
and another opportunity is open a year and a half down the road that gives more money, I'm going to that position. But I don't think that's what we should be looking at. We should look at somebody who's well diversified,
Right?
someone who have a genuine heart for their job, and we have to make it creative. Something. Do I know it exactly now how to be creative with that? No, I do not. But we need to get to come together.
And my concern with a young candidate is it is just a small stepping stone to a larger position that pays more
Exactly.
versus someone who has kind of run the gamut of things and they maybe are nearing the end of their working career and they could give us 10, 15 years
Right.
and say, no, listen, I want to move to Hertford. I want to be a member of Hertford, and I want to see I want to see us get better.
Correct.
Okay, that gets to.
Excuse me.
I understand. Believe me, I do understand.
Excuse me.
Our town image. What are the three critical factors that you think hinder promoting Hertford to people on the outside, and how would you address them?
Our main one that I do believe is the conditioning of our homes.
Okay.
We definitely need code enforcement.
All right, and that's a topic for
Yes.
and two steps.
Yeah, I'm going to try to wrap
Yep.
this up with this last one. I had an opportunity with some Friends for the Best of Hertford this past Saturday. October the 23rd was National Make a Difference Day. We went out into the community and we helped a young lady with her home. We cleaned up the outside of her home, her yard. We helped make a difference in that day. So if everyone would take the opportunity to look at their property, clean up their property, Hertford will be a much better, beautiful place that will invite people in. I want to move to Hertford. Hertford is beautiful. But we definitely need code enforcement because you can ride up and down all the streets in Hertford and you will see homes that either need to be torn down or rehab.
Okay.
So code enforcement is one of the top ones, and infrastructure
Okay.
is another one. But in order to get on top of ground, you got to do under the ground, and then
So we're not paving the roads.
we don't need to patch up the roads anymore.
Our former town was infamous. We would spend millions of dollars paving the roads over, only so as soon as the weather got warmer, we were taking jackhammers and removing the brand new macadam, digging holes in the road to replace sewer line, upgrade electricity,
Right.
put in new telephone lines. It was ludicrous, but invariably they did it for 25 years. So, a planned infrastructure, and, that's part of where the town manager would really step
Yes,
in.
yes.
And I'm going to give you one other chance to say what else you want to deal with. and if you're happy with that, I understand.
I'm happy with that, but first of all, I would like to say to move forward, I'm encouraging everyone to go out to the polls to vote.
Okay, and
We can't move forward until we get to the polls. We vote. We have tomorrow is our last day of early,
which is Saturday.
which is Saturday until 3:00 p.m.
Okay,
And some people are don't want to do early voting, but it's something about the election day that they have to get out and vote on election day.
I'm guilty.
You're guilty. Okay.
I'm guilty.
So, I thank you for this opportunity, but like I said, I want to be the person who brings Hertford back to the focal point, a beautiful focal point for Queens County.
Okay.
I want to be the person to be able to communicate. I don't want to come to knock on your door today and say, Mr. Henry House, Ms. Gail House, my name is Connie Brothers and I'm a candidate for town council. Here are my qualifications, here's my platform, and walk away. I want to be able to come back to you after election, 2 months down. Mr. Henry, thank you for your vote in this upcoming election. How can we better serve you?
And I know we're coming up to the deadline for it.
Yes.
Okay, so what I want to do, I want to encourage, you mentioned about early voting
Yes.
ending this Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, November 2nd, the polls are open.
Yes.
From what time?
They're open from 6:30 to 7.
6:30 to 7,
Or
okay?
7:30.
6:30 a.m. to
7:30
7:30 p.m., okay?
Yes.
And they're going to be, what are the locations of the polling places?
There will be Louise Event Center on Don Juan Road and also our courthouse, downtown Hertford. If anyone is in need of transportation, we will provide transportation for them to the polls.
Or you can reach out to me on
Yes.
Percoins Live, and I will reach out to try to get other people to
Yes,
help
he
you.
will.
The most important thing, the most critical thing of any election is turnout.
Yes.
Because it reflects the people's voice the best by having people show up.
Exactly.
And on that, ma'am, I really thank you for fitting us in.
And I want to say thank you for moving to Hertford, North Carolina. And it's a beautiful place. We don't want you to leave. And we want you to go invite others to come and move here to
I'm
Hertford.
working on it. Okay, I'm working on it. There's only so much I can do. I don't have that much of a Facebook following.
We'll help you. You will get there.
Okay.
But again, I say thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay,
And
well,
God
very
bless you
good.
and your wife.
And best of luck in the election.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you so
thank you.
much. You have a great day.
You too.